Ring a ring of roses, a pocket full of posies, a tissue with tissue, we all fall down. Hello and welcome to this edition of Take the Fear Out of the Gear with me, Jason Bangers.
And me, Mr. Chumley Warner.
This is my flag. Enough already. Enough. I've had enough. White flag. Enough. Well, honestly, we went out shopping yesterday and it's pretty much back to normal. However, you've got a till. Say our microphone is a till, and there's many tills all the way through the shop. I'm not going to name the shop. And then there's 2 metre lines. So you've got 2 metre. You know, we've all got a queue, 2 metres. But these queues are going up shopping aisles. Every shopping aisle has got a massive, great big queue. So you can't really shop because you've got everyone's doing this, isn't they? You know. And some of them with masks on, which are a waste of time. And you're like, excuse me, can I get to the soup? Because I need to buy some soup. Well, we're queuing. Yeah, well, I'm shopping. Help me.
Well, I had a similar thing. I went to the co-op. I shouldn't say the I'll say it, the co-op the other day. And there's the stupid thing of queuing outside. They'd only let 20 people in the shop. But the thing is, I walked in the shop, and as I walked in, there's like 3 or 4 shop people stacking the shelf, so you've got to walk past them, just past them, not 2 metres away, just past them. Then you go up and down the aisles, and there's all the shoppers in the aisles, and you're going past everyone, this far apart.
Everyone's touching the food, everyone's touching the railings, everyone's touching the things that you touch. Everybody's touching the bloody card thing where you type your what can I say?
If it was a highly infectious disease that was killing everyone, I wouldn't even go out myself. I'd be at home.
This morning, Mr. Chumley, I was listening to Radio 2, the Jeremy Vine show. As you know, I'm an avid listener.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, you're going to forgive me. What's the day's date?
31st today, yeah.
31st today, right. So you can check it yourself, go back on the podcast. I don't know if there's a bloke or a woman there, forgive me. But it was a man or a woman phoned in and said, how come the market in Wuhan, where all this evidently started, because they were selling bats to humans, and evidently the disease come from bats. That was a fact, isn't it? That's what started all this, isn't it?
That's where it all originated from,
well, Did you know, Simon,
no?
that is up and running? That market is open today, and they are selling and trading as normal. Exactly the same products. Did you know that?
No.
Well, it is. It is up and running and open only 2 weeks after it was all mad. 2 weeks.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Irate. And we're told we're probably going to be like this until September.
My observation on that one would be if that's where the virus broke out originally, that market should be shut down.
Proves it's a load of bullshit, doesn't it?
Well, it seems a bit fishy to me.
It's bullshit. It's got to be bullshit. That cannot be the truth. You can't take the source of an outbreak like that, shut it down for 2 weeks, and then open it up again. Time-wise, I might be wrong. It might have been longer than that. It may be a month. I can't remember because I don't know what day it is. But it's like if something was contagious enough to completely contaminate the whole of the fucking world, which it has done evidently, would you let them fuckers open up again and trade? No, you would not. But what's behind that market, Simon? Mr. Chumley, what is behind that market?
Well, in Wuhan, there's actual biochemical lab that produces the coronavirus.
Would you believe it? They actually breed the coronavirus in Wuhan in the laboratory.
And do you know what
coincidence?
No, I don't think so. But do you know what Event 201 is?
No, I don't think so.
Well, Event 201 was a coronavirus simulation taking place in Wuhan 6 weeks before the original outbreak. So they were practicing to see what happened in case there was a coronavirus outbreak.
Okay. I'm always a bit sceptical with stuff like that because, like, when the towers come down, they say, you know, a week before they had a dry run of it and stuff like that. I hear this a lot. Is this a fact, what you're talking about?
Yeah, apparently you can watch them doing it on the internet. It's called Event 201.
Okay.
And they were practicing this 6 weeks before the outbreak. An interesting thing, I'm just going to move because Jeff's sticking his gun in my ear. It's putting me off a little bit. There you go. Cheers, Jeff.
Well, he's protecting his toilet roll, mate.
Well, I'm not going near his toilet roll.
Don't go near his toilet roll because he might...
We're taking you into custody.
Told you, mate.
Oh, no.
It's the state of affairs today.
It is. But there's an interesting thing about, whilst we're on the subject of Wuhan, when in December 19, got this from the internet, obviously the virus outbreak, but when the virus came out in Wuhan, they called it a pneumonia outbreak.
Well, that's pretty much all it is, isn't it, pneumonia? That's all COVID-19 is pneumonia, isn't it? Or it's pneumonia for the elderly. It's the pneumonia that kills.
Exactly.
If you've got underlying health problems, it'll kill you. Well, it kills you anyway, pneumonia.
Exactly, so there's nothing new there, and apparently, when it, as I said, came out as pneumonia, then the World Health Organization renamed it Covid-19.
How come we got this thing globally, guys? Like New York is screaming out. We're talking global, Spain. So you've got Europe, you've got overseas, like big time overseas. Why is this? How can this thing be completely global all at once? How can it be?
Well,
Was it released in the Earth's core and just go bang? I mean, how do you completely contaminate the whole world? The world. Man, I've never known it.
But and as you say, how can you contaminate the world?
You can't, but you can control the world.
Exactly. And then how come China, where it started, Wuhan,
Hunky-dory.
is back to normal within, say, 2 months? We'll say that much.
I can guarantee you that if you was to piss off in China, go to Wuhan, you'd be fine. You'd carry on there. You'd be, even if you had a cold, you'd be fine. I've got a bit of a cold, but it ain't bloody COVID-19. This time of year, I'm always unwell.
And a lot of people have got pneumonia at this time of year.
And a lot of them will die, and they will get the tag on their toe that says "victim of COVID-19," won't they?
Yeah.
Why is Chumley's checking his stats out? I'd just like to say, government, if you want us, the public, like the general public, even people on benefits, to cough in and pay towards the NHS, I don't think you would get an argument from anyone. Regardless to this situation, this COVID-19 thing, forget that. Even in normal times, in peaceful times, if you was to say to someone who was actually on the dole, can you spare £1 a month towards the NHS? I'm sure they will say yes. And if you say to people that are working, can you spare at least £2 a month for the NHS? They will not give you an argument, I guarantee you. If you want to direct debit my account, £2 a month towards the NHS, knock yourselves out. How many millions would that generate, Si?
Oh, loads.
Well, why don't they just get on and do that straight away, okay? Because the NHS is struggling. We're being told that all the time. They haven't even got PPBs or PBEs or DFGs and nor even some NHS tutus. So let's all chip in and buy them for them. I'm quite happy to do that.
Me too, yeah.
And honestly, come on. I mean, all right, turn it into a charity if you like, the NHS. Make it a charity. But don't privatise it. Don't do that.
Well, what I think we should do is... I'm gonna. This is straight from .gov, www.gov.uk. This is from the government website, and you can look it up yourself because I found it. I've got it here.
We thought before we chirp on about it, we better do our own work just to make sure this is actually factual.
Now I'm gonna read through this list here, and maybe you can tell me what it sounds like.
Okay.
What it relates to.
This is a list of HCIDs, which stands for...
High consequence...
Yeah, go on.
Infectious diseases.
I'll probably zoom in on that for you, because it's focused round about there, so I can't...
And this is on the government website right now. This is what I'm looking at on my iPad. These are the symptoms that classify, they say, a high consequence infectious disease.
Try me, dude.
So it says in the UK, a high consequence infectious disease, or HCID, is defined according to the following criteria. So I'm just going to read there half a dozen points here. So the first one is, it's an acute infectious disease.
Mm-hmm.
Second point is, it says it has a typically high case fatality rate. So lots of people must die from it. And then it says they may not have effective treatment for it. That's another one.
Oh, yeah, vaccine.
Yep. And then, this is another interesting one. It says it's often difficult to recognise and detect rapidly.
Okay. Early signs.
And then the other thing is, 2 more to go. This next one is ability to spread in the community and within healthcare settings.
Right.
So, well, presumably it means it can spread easily within hospitals, etc.
That's 5.
And the last one, it says requires an enhanced individual, population and system response to ensure it is managed effectively, efficiently and safely. So it's basically saying that all of us should do something to keep it under control.
It already sounds familiar. What are the side effects?
Well, obviously it depends on the disease, but that's the main criteria for having it defined as one of these HCIDs.
Right. So, are you asking me if I think COVID-19 would be in that category?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, certainly, because it is.
Well, that's what I would say. You know, I'll just go through it again.
You've just described COVID-19, basically, haven't you?
I have decided. I've basically described COVID-19 because, as I say, it's infectious. There's a high amount of people dying, difficult to treat, and then it says ability to spread throughout the community, and obviously requires everyone to do their thing to make it safe.
Is that COVID-19?
No.
Hey?
Because if I scroll up here...
That doesn't...
into
okay. Status of COVID-19.
Status of COVID-19. This is on the same page as the website. So, there we go.
Oh, I don't know if you can see that. That's a bit white.
Well, we can give you the link.
Yeah, we'll flash up the actual pages. I'll put them in PDF and put them up there for you.
So this is the government status on COVID-19. As of the 19th of March 2020...
Hang on, that's this month.
That is this. It's about a week and a half ago.
It was updated a week ago. Gee, so it's got to be bang on then, isn't it?
Yeah. So as of 19th of March 2020, COVID-19 is no longer considered to be a high consequence infectious disease.
Are you shitting me?
No.
Hey, this is on the government site. COVID-19 isn't. Read that again.
There we go. It says
this is fucking bullshit.
This is on, as you say, www.gov.uk. And this is their statement on COVID-19. It says status of COVID-19. As of 19th of March 2020, COVID-19 is no longer considered...
This present month of this year...
We are just in March, 31st today. Is no longer considered to be a high consequence infectious disease or HCID in the UK.
In plain sight. Oh, I don't believe it.
All I'd say, if I was the government, I would take this off my website. So, Tubes, you might want to check it out whilst you still can, because there's something going on.
I can't believe that. What else does it say? Is it just
there it goes into more. It gives the reasons why they won't classify it as a HCID. There's a whole load of information here.
Read it yourselves, guys. Jesus. So you might have heard us say the other week that COVID-19 isn't on this list. So we knew it weren't on there, but we hadn't actually checked it for ourselves. And now we're going on there and checked it. What we have seen has baffled us because there's even more controversial stuff on there. And by controversial, I mean it contradicts.
Well, exactly, and this is from the government. This is not us. We're just reading it off the government website.
These are the people who's telling us to self-isolate.
The common cold is a coronavirus.
Yeah.
Flu is a coronavirus.
Yeah.
Pneumonia is a coronavirus.
Yeah. You normally get pneumonia from circumstances, not from picking it up in the air.
But just while we're talking about this HCID, this is the final bit. So you've probably heard of these. You've heard of SARS. They've talked about that at the hospitals, you know.
We had an outbreak of that several years ago, 10 years ago.
You've heard of this one thing called MERS, which is MERS.COV.
And then you got Mrs. A, which is MRSA, of course, as well.
Yeah, and these are all classified as HCIDs. So we've been through these. We've been through Ebola.
But
These are classified as HCID.
they're on the list.
Yeah, these are on the list, but COVID-19 isn't. And obviously we've lived through all these scares and outbreaks. We've lived through pneumonia.
And they didn't build any new hospitals for them.
No, which in theory they should do to help people.
But we're looking at stuff that's a bit controversial, but what we want to know is why? Why is this all so controversial? Why is it so blatantly out there, yet so blatantly not? And why is that market in Wuhan open? What's going on? Someone give us some real decent, genuine, honest to goodness feedback about what is really going on, because I'll tell you what is going on. It ain't what they're telling us.
Definitely not.
There's no way, because if it was, there's no way me and him could have gone to Aldi's yesterday and got shopping in.
Let's talk about these test kits, because the government we keep going on about these test kits. So they're calling them coronavirus test kits, which is not strictly true, because all these they take a little sample of your blood,
like diabetes, like I have to, yeah.
And that basically it's an antibody test or an antigen test. So what this does, it just tells you if you've got a virus in your body.
Well, I would be positive for COVID-19 because I've had a flu jab.
Exactly.
So that would make me positive, wouldn't it? Because there's part of the virus in me, yeah.
Exactly. So that's we can write that one off. The other one, which is you could say it's maybe slightly more reliable, is called a PCR test, which is done in a laboratory, where they actually take a swab of your DNA from the back of your throat. But the problem with that is it's such a small sample of DNA, and the best way to say, they sort of amplify it, make it bigger so they can look at what's in that sample. But again, that only tells you if you've got a virus or an infection. It doesn't actually come up on the computer and says, COVID-19.
It's not specific. It's not
not at all. So that's just us touching on those two.
Which is weird
tests.
Because they've got things out there that can tell you if you've had heroin, cocaine, or LSD. I'd have thought they'd have had something that good for viruses, but I guess viruses are a different thing.
And you'd actually have to have a separate, in a laboratory, you'd have to have a separate sample of the COVID-19 to compare it to try and isolate it from someone's DNA. It's not an easy thing. So people don't buy test kits off the internet because it's not going to tell you anything.
All it's going to do is put the statistics up, the numbers up of people who've got COVID-19. That's all it's going to do. It's going to raise the numbers because you'll all show positive for it for one reason or another, but it don't mean you've got it.
Exactly. And then the final thing, what we'll do is we're going to take some people's comments from YouTube off the internet about, a bit like we've saying, we've been going into the shops and seeing what's going. We should say we went out for a drive today. We had to get something to eat, and it was just amazing. It was like a war zone, wasn't it? There was no one around.
It's dead out there. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, not in a good way. It's brilliant. There's no traffic on the road. It's like deader than Christmas. It's amazing out there.
That's fantastic.
And it's very rare you get to see the place you live like that. And it's both eerie, scary, and nice. It's like Will Smith in that film.
Oh yes, what's it called? A brilliant film. I Am Legend.
I Am Legend. Yes, it's like that out there. Apart from there ain't like weeds growing everywhere. Everything's still immaculate, but there ain't. There's nobody out there. It's dead. You get the odd person. Not many. It's really zombie-ish. Well, no, because there's no zombies. Not yet, anyway.
No, yeah. Might make it more fun with a few zombies around, mightn't it?
So Simon's going to show you some comments that people have left on various sites on the internet, which is what we'd like to do if you put some on ours and we read them out.
Well, this is a lady who lives in the USA, and she says, what gets me is COVID-19... she's asking the question, are COVID-19 deaths more important than, then she goes on to say, suicides, which apparently there's 49,000 a year in the USA. Then she says, flu deaths, 40,000. Opioids, basically medication, there's 70,000 deaths. And then her last point is she says, from medical malpractice in the USA, 250,000 deaths a year. So And
I get a point.
so she's saying there's a lot of people dying, probably more than this COVID-19.
And it's not being magnified in the
she's
news.
Yeah, she's basically saying the world's not being shut down for those problems.
If you say there's a pandemic of suicides on the go, which there was in Wales not so long ago, there was a lot of kids just hanging themselves. It was terrible. But you can't catch suicide. So that's what people can say. Well, suicide isn't infectious, is it? I know the others are, but suicide's not infectious. You can't catch suicide. They're going to say so. That's obviously why they're going on about it. I'm just saying what people are going to say. Do you know what I mean? People's response is going to be, yeah, but you can't catch suicide.
Well, I suppose
I get a point. I'm not. Listen,
Yeah,
all I'm saying is what people are going to say. I can feel the floods of everyone now saying you can't catch suicide. We know that. But she's got a good point.
So that's a lady from the US.
I'm playing devil's advocate here, dude.
Oh, go for it, dude. Go for it.
I'm playing devil's advocate. What else you got?
There's another lady from the US. She says,
Do you want to name them or not?
Oh, they've just got YouTube names, so
okay.
I won't. We'll just read them out. She said, "My friend is a nurse just outside a major city in Northern California, working on contract, and she works in the ER emergency room. And she says the ER is completely dead.
Hey?
And she says all of the 95% of hospital beds in the ER are empty." This is probably something we've touched on. Someone says, when you see government officials wearing masks and practicing social distancing and not smiling, then I'd get worried.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
like you said with Boris, when they first did their things, there's three of them.
he's fine.
No masks, no gloves.
Aye.
It's just someone throwing it out there. Guy called Steve, apparently. He says, all small business must be destroyed. All private property must be abolished. 2 of the 5 planks of communism.
That's where this is going, isn't
That's
it?
rather controversial, that.
This whole thing seems to be all about destroying small business and reasonably big businesses, doesn't it? Because that's where it's really affecting. I mean, what you got to do is say, if this isn't genuine, okay, then what is it for? Well, look at who's getting hurt the most, and then you'll see.
I've got to stick my hand up because, we're getting killed out here. Now, someone else, another lady, she's saying norovirus, which we've all heard of, sometimes referred to as the winter vomiting bug, is the most common cause of
God, yeah, I get it every friggin' year.
gastroenteritis. And she says it results in about 685 million cases of disease and 200,000 deaths globally a year.
Yeah, it's a crippler.
And she's asking, why don't we lock down and self-isolate every year for norovirus? Then she's got a web link here as well. Oh, someone's talking about we were talking about Germany and they were testing and the mortality rate apparently in Germany, because they've done so many tests, is very low. I guess this could be someone from Germany. They're saying the mortality rate is completely unchanged. That's all you need to know. And then they're saying in Germany, around 2,500 people on average die of various causes every day. And then they put in brackets, old age, illness, accidents, suicides, etc. And then they're saying, since the outbreak of the coronavirus, around 2,500 people on average die in Germany every day. They're just renaming some of the deaths causes to the coronavirus. What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
And then just to finish on this one, this is one from someone in this country, in the UK. A lady saying her daughter's a radiographer. Yes, in a busy British hospital.
She practiced radiography because she's a radiographer.
Jay can say it. And she's basically saying, we've got nothing to do. We're empty. There's nothing going on. We'll leave you with this one, because this one is from someone in Australia called.
Good old sport.
Yes, called Graham. Lives in Australia.
G-man.
Yep. He says, I live in Australia and I go out all the time. I was at golf today and it was just as busy as normal. The only difference was you can't go into the clubhouse afterwards, have a beer, and the social distancing rubbish is in effect as well. Then he's got an angry face, and he says the governments I'm not doing what they say. Almost everyone I know is acting hysterical. It's so frustrating trying to talk to them. They think I'm crazy. All they do is repeat the mainstream media news and think they are smart. And his last words were, I'm cutting them all out of my life.
And my will.
I don't need these brain-dead retards for friends and family. I would rather be on my own instead of surrounded by fools.
Aye.
Well, there you go. Graham's got one under his bonnet there, hasn't he?
Well, guys, on that note, let's hope you've enjoyed this session of Take the Fear Out of Gear, because there's some funny old stuff going on at the moment. Don't forget to let us know what's going on in your neck of the woods and how you see it. From this edition of Take the Fear Out of Gear, from him, Chumley Warner.
And from him, Mr. Jason Bangers.
We'll see you again.
See ya.